Do you remember that feeling? You're sitting in front of the television, the whole family gathered around, and suddenly, that little tune starts to play. A smile just appears on your face. Your heart feels a little warmer, and you don't even know why. Those weren't just commercials, were they? They were part of our lives, part of our family memories, part of who we were. Today we're going to take a trip back to those golden moments together. We're going to revisit the commercials that made us laugh, made us sing along, and yes, sometimes made us want things we didn't even know we needed. But more than that, they connected us. They created memories that have lasted a lifetime. Back in the 1950s and 60s, television was still a kind of magic box in the corner of the living room. Most families only had one, so when it was on, everyone watched. And when the commercials came on, nobody got up to leave the room. We stayed and watched because those ads were different. They weren't like the constant annoying interruptions we often see today. No, they were events in themselves. They told complete stories, sometimes with characters we'd see week after week and come to love. Can you imagine an ad today lasting a full minute? But back then, they did. Companies understood something fundamental. They were being invited into our homes as guests, and they treated that privilege with respect. They aimed to entertain us, not just shout at us to buy something. And oh, the songs, those jingles. They weren't just catchy tunes, they were composed by real musicians and sung by professional artists. Once you heard one, it stayed in your head for days, weeks, maybe even forever. I bet if you close your eyes right now, you can still hear a few of them, can't you? It's amazing how a simple jingle for soap or a soft drink can instantly transport us back to our childhood living rooms, surrounded by the people we love. Those weren't just ads. They were the soundtrack to our youth. They were short, happy films that brought a little extra joy between our favorite shows. If you remember those times, if a particular commercial has a special place in your heart, I'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment below and tell us which one marked your life. Let's share these precious memories and maybe even sing a few of those old jingles together. Thanks for taking this trip down memory lane with me. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more journeys back in time. See you in the next one. Ready to step back in time? Let's travel to the 1950s and 60s, a world bathed in warm tones, where old streets bustled with life and style was everything. Imagine strolling past shop windows displaying black and white advertisements, with classic cars cruising by. It was an era of glamour and optimism, but also a time when something strange, by today's standards, was completely normal. Back then, cigarette commercials weren't just on TV, they were everywhere, and they were events. These weren't simple ads. They were miniature movies, promising a sophisticated, desirable lifestyle. Companies poured fortunes into them, hiring famous actors and building elaborate sets. They featured rugged cowboys, glamorous women in evening gowns, and even popular cartoon characters. It was a spectacle designed to capture the public's imagination. What's truly wild to think about now is who they got to endorse their products. Doctors. Can you believe it? Medical professionals in white coats would look into the camera and calmly suggest that a certain brand was milder or purer. It seems completely unbelievable today, but at the time, it was just part of the culture. Smoking was so common, in offices, restaurants, even on airplanes, that these commercials simply reflected the world as it was. People didn't have the health information we do now. Then everything changed. In 1971, the government banned all cigarette advertising from television. Almost overnight, an entire genre of advertising vanished from the airwaves. The billboards came down, the jingles faded away, and the world began to look a little different. Looking back at these old ads isn't about judgment, it's about perspective. They are like historical documents, capturing a specific moment in time and showing us just how much our understanding and our society can evolve. What was once accepted without a second thought is now seen through a completely different lens. That's not something to be ashamed of, that's progress. It proves that we can learn, adapt, and improve as a society. Recognizing how far we've come is a powerful thing. If you enjoyed this journey through history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We bring you fascinating stories from the past every single week. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Do you remember those mornings? The ones that all started the same way, like a familiar, comforting song. The smell of coffee brewing as Mom set the table. Dad, completely absorbed in the morning paper. The world's events unfolding in black and white print. And for us kids? The real headline was in a bowl right in front of us. Colorful, crunchy cereal, the undisputed champion of breakfast. But why that specific cereal? Well, the answer played out every Saturday morning on our television screens. The commercials. They weren't just ads. They were mini-episodes, incredible animated productions. The characters became our friends. Think about it. The brave lion with his catchy jingle. The silly bird who was always chasing after those colorful loops. The sea captain on a sugary adventure. They had personalities, they had catchphrases, they had adventures that we wanted to be a part of. They weren't just selling a product, they were weaving themselves into the fabric of our childhood memories. We looked forward to seeing them every week, their voices as familiar and comforting as a bedtime story. And then, the toy commercials. Oh, that was a whole other level of magic, especially as the holidays got closer. The announcer's voice would swell with excitement, making every doll, every train set, every board game seem like the most incredible invention in the world. We'd be glued to the screen, our eyes wide. We'd carefully cut out pictures from magazines and the Sunday comics to present to our parents as evidence. We'd spend hours writing and rewriting our Christmas lists, daydreaming about the moment we'd finally hold that toy in our hands. That wasn't just advertising we were watching. It was pure, unadulterated hope. It was a masterclass in imagination. Sure, sometimes the real toy wasn't quite as spectacular as its television counterpart. Maybe the doll didn't walk quite so smoothly, or the race car wasn't quite as fast. But even that small touch of disappointment was part of growing up, wasn't it? It was a gentle lesson about reality and managing expectations. What truly mattered, what has stayed with me all these years, is that those commercials fueled our ability to dream. They taught us to believe in possibilities, to wait for something with all our hearts, and to find joy in the anticipation. And that feeling, that sparkle of childhood hope, is a precious gift that lasts a lifetime, no matter how many years go by. Thanks so much for taking this little trip down memory lane with me. If you enjoyed this, please give this video a like and consider subscribing for more stories. See you next time. Do you remember a time when the world seemed to stop for a little while every afternoon? When the kids were at school and husbands were at work, the house would fall quiet. For many women in the 50s and 60s, this was their time. Time for their stories, the daytime dramas we came to know as soap operas. Ever wondered where that name came from? Well, it's quite literal. These shows were sponsored by soap companies. The commercials that ran during the breaks weren't just ads. They were almost like mini lessons, broadcast in classic black and white. They showed women how to achieve the perfect, spotless home, how to tackle those impossible grass stains on a pair of pants, or how to make white linens gleam brighter than ever before. Looking back, it's easy to see these commercials as a bit old-fashioned in how they portrayed family roles. But they also offer a fascinating window into how people lived. They documented a certain reality. The role of a housewife was seen as a profession, a domain of expertise. These ads spoke directly to her, respecting her knowledge and experience in running a household. And the demonstrations. Do you remember those? There were no fancy special effects or computer-generated graphics. It was pure, simple proof. They'd take two pieces of white cloth, wash one with a competitor's product and the other with theirs, and hold them up side by side for everyone to see the difference. There was an honesty in that simplicity, a directness that made you believe what you were seeing. You watched it happen right there on the screen. Companies didn't talk down to their audience. They respected the intelligence of the women watching. They would explain the science behind the suds, the chemistry of the cleaning agents, the unique ingredients that made their product superior. They treated their customers as smart consumers, capable of understanding the facts and making an informed choice for their families. It was a different kind of marketing, built on trust and tangible results. What about you? Do you remember any of these classic cleaning product commercials? What was the one brand your mother or grandmother always trusted? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read your memories. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this little trip back in time, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more. See you in the next one. Sound of an old projector whirring, followed by a snippet of grand orchestral 1960s commercial music. Remember the 1960s? A time of big dreams and even bigger cars. And oh, the commercials. They weren't just ads. They were mini-movies, selling a slice of the American dream right in your living room. Scene shifts to visuals of classic 1960s car commercials. Look at that. A pristine, shiny automobile gliding down a wide-open road. Not another car in sight. The sun glints off the chrome, making it look like a jewel on wheels. Inside, a happy family. Dad, proud and confident behind the wheel. Mom, elegant in the passenger seat. And the kids in the back, faces filled with pure excitement pointing at the world whizzing by. These commercials were pure magic. They didn't just sell you four wheels and an engine. They sold you freedom, they sold you adventure. They sold the promise of the open road, a future stretching out before you, filled with endless possibilities. The cars had these incredible, poetic names, spoken by an announcer with a deep, trustworthy voice that made you believe every word. And the music, it was always grand, always swelling with excitement, making your heart beat a little faster. For many, a new car was a symbol of making it. It was a major life event, something families saved up for, sometimes for years. When that day finally came, it was a celebration. The neighbors would come out to admire it. The kids would pile in, breathing in that unforgettable new car smell. It was a moment of pure accomplishment. These commercials perfectly captured that feeling. They understood that buying a car wasn't just a practical decision. It was an emotional one. It was about progress, about building a better life for your family. It was about dignity. When you look back at these ads, you see more than just clever marketing. You see the hopes and aspirations of a generation. They weren't just selling cars. They were selling a feeling. The feeling that with the right set of wheels, you could drive straight into a brighter tomorrow. That wasn't just metal and rubber, it was hope, cast in steel and polished to a perfect shine. Thanks for taking this trip down memory lane with me. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more nostalgic journeys. See you next time. Remember those commercials that weren't slick, big-budget national campaigns? I'm talking about the ones that truly felt like home. The used car salesman, maybe a little too enthusiastic, making his own ads right on the lot. Or the furniture store owner, looking straight into the camera, promising you wouldn't find a better price anywhere else in town. And who could forget those jingles? That catchy tune from the regional supermarket chain that you just couldn't get out of your head. These weren't polished Hollywood productions. Far from it. Sometimes the owner would stumble over his lines. Sometimes the camera would shake just a little bit. But that's what made them so real, wasn't it? That's what made them ours. You'd see these same people at the local church, at the farmer's market, or just walking down the street. So when they looked into that camera and made you a promise, you knew they had to stand by it. They weren't just a face on a screen, they were your neighbors. They were a genuine part of the community. Local commercials gave a powerful voice to small businesses. For 30 seconds, they leveled the playing field. That little bakery on Main Street could reach just as many people in your town as a giant national chain. And we supported them, didn't we? We supported them because we knew the faces in the ads. We knew their families. They were part of our community, our city, our everyday lives. There was something truly special about seeing someone you knew on television. It filled you with a unique sense of pride. You'd be watching with your family and suddenly shout, "Hey, that's Mr. Johnson from the hardware store." The kids would get so excited, pointing at the screen. It made our small towns feel big and our neighbors feel like stars. These local ads also perfectly captured the personality of each region. The distinct accents, the inside jokes, the local references that only people who live there would understand. They weren't just selling a product, they were celebrating a shared identity. They made you feel like you belonged to a specific, wonderful place in the world. If you have fond memories of these local commercials from your hometown, please share them in the comments below. Let's relive those moments and celebrate the memories together. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Remember this? Or this? What about the sound of an old TV clicking on, the hum before the picture appears? We see these old photos, these grainy VHS tapes, and it's more than just looking back. It's a feeling, isn't it? A warmth that spreads through you, like your grandma's smile when she heard a familiar jingle, or the memory of your mom humming along to a commercial while she cooked. Why do these old ads stick with us for so long? Decades later, we can still sing the songs and recite the slogans. It was never really about the products, was it? Many of those brands are gone now or completely different. The products themselves don't matter anymore. What matters is the time. It's about who we were when we first saw them. Maybe you were a kid, sitting in your pajamas on a Saturday morning, cartoons on the screen. Maybe you were a new parent, watching late at night, dreaming of the future you wanted to build for your family. Or maybe you were just living, caught in a moment that has since slipped away. These commercials are like little time capsules. They perfectly captured how people dressed, talked, and lived. They hold the hopes and dreams of a generation. When we get nostalgic for these old ads, we're not missing the soap, the cereal, or the cars. We're missing ourselves. We're nostalgic for our own youth, for a time when life felt a little simpler, a little brighter. We're remembering the people we love, the ones who are no longer with us. That specific brand of coffee your grandmother always bought. The type of car your grandfather insisted was the only one worth driving. Those jingles your mother sang in the kitchen. These memories don't just live in dusty photo albums. They live in sounds and songs, in these tiny shared moments that played out in living rooms across the country. They are the threads that connect us to our past, to our families, and to the people we once were. They remind us that love and memory are stored not just in our minds, but in our hearts. If this brought back a special memory for you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more journeys back in time. Remember this? The hum of an old TV, the whole family gathered around waiting for our favorite show. The commercials back then weren't just interruptions, they were events. They were part of the conversation, part of our lives. They brought us together, creating moments we all shared. You could walk into school the next day and everyone would be singing the same jingle, quoting the same funny line. It was a language we all spoke, a piece of culture we all owned. Now look at this. A world of glowing screens, tailored just for us. The ads on our phones know what we've searched for, where we've been, what we've bought. They're smart, efficient, and personal. But in their quest to know everything about us as individuals, they forgot how to bring us together as a community. They've lost that magic, that ability to create a shared experience that transcends our individual lives and connects us all. Those old commercials were more than just clever marketing. They were a soundtrack to our childhoods, snapshots of a simpler time. They were about family dinner, Saturday morning cartoons, and the feeling of being part of something bigger. They were woven into the fabric of our memories, reminding us of home, of family, of a time when the world seemed to turn a little bit slower. The jingles, the characters, the heartfelt promises, they weren't just selling products. They were selling a feeling of belonging. That's why these memories stick with us. They weren't just ads. They were tiny pieces of history we all lived through together. They remind us that some things, some feelings, never get old. They just become a cherished part of who we are. If this little trip down memory lane resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. We love exploring these precious moments from our past. And please leave a comment below and tell us which old commercial you'll never forget. Let's keep these wonderful memories alive together. Until next time, take care.